Hey everyone, welcome back to Hey English Podcast. I'm Shofia, and as always, I'm here with the thoughtful and ever curious Jack.
Hey folks, thanks for joining us again. We're super excited you're here. So, Shofia, before we jump in, how's your week been?
Honestly, a little crazy, but in the best way. I've been really focusing on becoming more consistent, waking up early, journaling, even talking to strangers in English to push myself out of my comfort zone. It's not perfect, but I already feel different, more confident.
That's inspiring and so in sync with today's topic, how to become the best version of yourself. A topic that sounds big, maybe even overwhelming, but today we're going to break it down step by step.
Exactly. You don't need to transform overnight. In fact, that's impossible. But small changes, a better mindset, a stronger connection with your daily habits, that's how real transformation begins.
So, if you've ever looked in the mirror and thought, I can be more, I just don't know how, this episode is for you. Stick with us. We've got stories, strategies, and even a fun role play later on to bring it all to life. All right, so let's take a deep breath and really step into today's topic, how to become the best version of yourself. Now, that phrase gets thrown around a lot, right? But what does it actually mean?
Exactly. Some people think it means making more money, getting the perfect job, or having thousands of followers on social media. But that's not really what we're talking about today. Becoming the best version of yourself isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you really are.
I love that. It's not about adding on fake layers. It's about peeling back the ones that don't belong. It's about growth, not perfection. Becoming more confident, more kind, more disciplined, more self-aware. It's about owning your journey.
Yes. And here's the truth. Everyone's best version looks different. For one person, it might mean learning how to say no to toxic people. For another, it might mean learning how to speak English fluently so they can finally go for that dream job or move to another country.
Or maybe it's just about building better habits, like waking up earlier, exercising a little each day, or setting healthy boundaries. It doesn't have to be dramatic. In fact, it usually isn't.
When I think back to when I started working on myself, I was honestly so lost. I thought, if I could just change my job or my appearance, maybe I'd feel better. But nothing truly shifted until I worked on my mindset and my daily routines. That's when things started to feel real.
Same here. For me, I struggled with self-doubt for years. I kept comparing myself to others, thinking I wasn't smart enough, fast enough, good enough. But once I stopped comparing and started focusing on my own growth, I started to feel lighter, happier. And ironically, that's when I started improving much faster.
That's such an important point. So, today, friends, we want you to ask yourself just one question as you listen. What does my best version actually look like?
Not someone else's, yours. What qualities does that version of you have? Are they confident when speaking English? Are they more patient with their family? Do they read more? Do they take care of their health?
And don't worry, we're not here to throw a list of rules at you. We're going to explore real stories, real struggles, and real steps you can take to move toward your best self.
We'll also break down what's actually stopping most people, the emotional roadblocks, the fear of failure, the lack of direction. And then what? We'll give you 4 clear strategies that work. No fluff, just real, doable change.
Plus, stick around for our favorite part, the role play segment, where Jack and I will act out a real life situation and how the best version of yourself might show up in that moment. It's fun, it's practical, and you can apply it right away.
Oh, and of course, we've got your vocabulary boost later too. we'll pull out some of the most useful words from today's episode and show you exactly how to use them in your conversations.
So grab your tea, coffee, or just sit back and relax. We're going on a little journey together, one step at a time, toward the version of you that you've always wanted to meet.
Let's do this. Coming up next, what are the real problems people face when they try to grow? You might just hear your own story there.
Okay, so let's be honest. Everyone wants to grow, right? We all say things like, I want to be better. I want to speak English confidently, or I want to be more focused. But then life happens, time passes, and nothing really changes.
Exactly. You wake up a year later and realize you're still stuck in the same habits, still afraid to speak up in meetings, still procrastinating your goals, still comparing yourself to others on Instagram.
And that feeling, it hurts because deep down, you know you're capable of more, but something's blocking you. And sometimes that something is hard to describe.
I think one of the biggest problems is that we expect transformation to feel exciting and fast, like it'll just click. But in reality, becoming the best version of yourself often feels boring at first. It's slow, it's daily, and sometimes it's uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh, yes. I remember a listener once messaged me and said, Shafia, I want to change, but I keep quitting after a few days. I always start strong, but then I lose motivation. And I told her something that I learned the hard way. Motivation is not reliable. Systems are. Boom. That's it. So many people think they need to feel ready before they begin. But the truth is, you start messy, you start scared, you start unsure. The readiness comes after you begin, not before.
Another common struggle is overwhelm. We live in a world that throws thousands of improvement ideas at us every single day. Be confident, drink more water, learn 3 languages, start a business, hit the gym, meditate, be grateful, read 100 books.
It's like, where do you even start? It becomes too much, so people freeze, or they try to do everything at once and then burn out.
And let's not forget about fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of looking silly, especially when trying to improve your English or speak in public. It's real.
Yep. I still remember the first time I tried to speak English with a native speaker. My hands were sweating, my voice shook. I forgot the most basic words like kitchen and beautiful. And for a second, I wanted to run away.
Same here. But those little moments of fear are also invitations. They invite you to grow if you accept the challenge. Another thing that holds people back is self-doubt, that tiny voice inside your head that says, you're not smart enough, you'll never change, you always give up. That voice, it's not the truth, but if you believe it, it becomes your reality.
And often, that voice doesn't even come from you. It comes from your past, from people who made you feel small, from experiences where you failed once and never tried again. But here's the good news. You can rewire that voice.
And you must, if you want to grow, because becoming the best version of yourself requires you to believe something new, that you are not your past, that you are not stuck, that every single day you can choose something better.
So, friend, if you've ever felt stuck, if you've tried and failed before, if you felt too tired, too old, too busy, too scared, too not good enough, you're not alone. We've all been there, Jack and I included.
The key is to recognize those feelings, understand where they come from, and then start shifting them slowly, kindly, one step at a time.
And that's exactly what we're diving into next. Let's talk about the emotional and logical causes of why we struggle to grow and how to identify what's really holding you back.
So now that we've talked about the struggles people face, let's explore something even more important: why we struggle. Because without understanding the cause, we keep repeating the same cycle over and over.
Yes, it's like trying to fix a broken car by repainting it. Looks good outside, but if the engine's not working, it's not going anywhere. Same with personal growth. You can listen to podcasts, read books, even set goals. But if you don't understand the emotional blocks, nothing will stick.
Let's start with one of the biggest emotional causes, fear of change. Even when we want to grow, a part of our brain resists it because change means discomfort. Our brain is wired for survival, not success. It sees unfamiliar routines as dangerous, even when they're good for us.
That's so true. I used to think I was lazy, but really, I was scared. Scared to mess up, scared of judgment, scared that I wasn't good enough. So I stayed where I was because it felt safe, even though I wasn't happy.
And that's exactly what happens to a lot of our listeners, too. You're not bad at English. You're just afraid to look silly. You're not unmotivated. You're overwhelmed. These feelings are signals, not flaws.
Yes, and another big one is limiting beliefs. These are those quiet thoughts in the background, like, I'm too old to change, I failed before, I'll fail again. People like me don't succeed. These beliefs feel true because they've been repeated in your head for years. But guess what? You can challenge them.
Absolutely. You can rewrite them with new thoughts, like, I can start small. My past does not define me. I don't need to be perfect, just consistent. And the more often you say these to yourself, the more natural they become.
Now let's look at some logical causes too. One is simply lack of clarity. People say, I want to improve, but they don't define how. If your goal is too vague, like, I want to be better, your brain doesn't know what to do with that.
Exactly. Think of it like opening Google Maps and typing in somewhere nice. The app will just stare at you. You need a destination. So instead of be better, say, I want to speak English fluently in meetings. I want to wake up by 7 a.m. without hitting snooze. I want to feel proud of myself every Sunday night. Now that's clear.
And don't forget environment. If you're trying to change, but you're surrounded by negativity, toxic people, or constant distractions, it's like planting a flower in concrete. It won't grow.
That's why it's so powerful to create small, supportive spaces, like listening to this podcast, joining a group, reading uplifting stories, or even following social media pages that inspire you to grow.
Another logical barrier, trying to do too much at once. We think we need to change everything overnight, but that's not how humans work. Real growth is boring. It's brushing your teeth every day, not just once a week for 2 hours.
I love that. It's the compound effect. Small improvements over time lead to big results. One extra glass of water a day, one kind thought, one new English word. Do that for 6 months, you'll be unrecognizable in the best way.
So, to sum this up, if you've struggled to grow in the past, it might not be because you're weak or lazy. It might be because you are afraid or confused or unsupported, and that's okay.
But now you know better. And when we understand the cause, we gain the power to change it. That's what this episode is really about, stepping back into your power.
So, coming up next, we're giving you the first practical solution to help you start becoming your best self today. No big speeches, just something real you can try right now.
All right, it's time to get practical. You've been listening, reflecting, maybe even nodding along with your morning tea. But now we want to help you do something. So here it is. Solution number 1, master just one micro habit.
Yes, not 5 things, not a complete life overhaul, just one simple, small habit, a micro habit. And you might be thinking, seriously, just one? Yes, because small things done consistently beat big things done once.
Let me tell you a quick story. A friend of mine wanted to become more productive. He tried waking up at 5 a.m., running 5K, reading an hour, journaling, meditating, all in the same week. Guess what happened?
Burnout?
Exactly. Day 3, he crashed and gave up. But then he tried something else. He picked just one micro habit, making his bed every morning. That's it. And you know what? After 3 weeks of doing just that, he started to feel capable, responsible, in control. From there, the other changes slowly followed.
That's the power of momentum. When you prove to your brain, hey, I can do this, even in the smallest way, you start to build trust with yourself. That's where confidence grows.
So, what's a good micro habit? Here are a few ideas. Write one sentence in your English journal every night. Say just one new English word out loud each day. Drink 1 glass of water after waking up. Stretch for 1 minute before bed. Look in the mirror and say, I am growing.
It sounds simple because it is. That's the point. It should feel almost too easy. If it feels like a big challenge, it's not micro. The magic is in making it so small that your brain has no excuse not to do it.
And here's a tip. Attach your micro habit to something you already do. For example, if you make tea every morning, say one English sentence while waiting for it to steep. If you brush your teeth every night, say a positive affirmation right after.
I love that. For me, I tie journaling to my evening skincare routine. After I wash my face, I write 3 things I did well that day. It takes 2 minutes, but it changed how I see myself.
And that's something powerful listeners need to hear. You don't need more motivation. You need systems that work when you're tired. Micro habits are those systems.
Exactly. And remember, we're not doing this for instant results. We're doing it to build identity. When you journal for 1 minute every night, you become someone who reflects. When you speak one English word daily, you become a speaker. Little by little, it changes how you see yourself.
And that new identity, that's what fuels the deeper changes. Let's pause for a second. If you're listening right now, take a moment and choose one micro habit you can start today. Just one. Say it out loud if you can.
That's right. Say it with confidence, even if it feels silly, because this is the beginning of momentum. And momentum beats motivation every single time.
Coming up next, we'll give you another strategy that builds on this first one. It's all about creating identity anchors that pull you toward your future self, even when life gets messy.
So now that we've talked about mastering a micro habit, let's go a little deeper. Because behind every habit, every action, you'll always find something more powerful: your identity. Who you believe you are shapes everything you do.
And this brings us to solution number 2. Build identity anchors and think like your future self. Sounds deep, right? But don't worry, we're going to break it down so it's simple and actionable.
Let's start with this question. Who are you becoming? Are you becoming someone who is confident, who speaks clearly in English, who chooses growth over comfort?
Or are you repeating the story you've told yourself for years? I'm bad at English. I'm not disciplined. I always quit. Because here's the truth. Your brain believes what you rehearse. If you keep saying you're not good enough, guess what? Your actions will match that belief.
So what's the solution? You need to create identity anchors, little reminders and rituals that tie your daily actions to your future self.
Let me share a story. A listener named Rahan reached out last month. He told us that for years he believed he would never be able to speak English fluently because he didn't grow up around it. But then he tried something powerful. Every morning he looked in the mirror and said, I am becoming a confident English speaker. That was his anchor. And within a few weeks, his energy shifted. He started practicing daily, making mistakes proudly, even helping others. Not because his grammar was perfect, but because his belief changed.
That's so powerful. I did something similar. I wrote a letter to my future self, the version of me 6 months from now. In that letter, I described how she feels, how she speaks, how she handles pressure, how she lights up a room. And every time I feel lost, I reread it.
That's a beautiful idea. For those listening, here's a little exercise you can try today. Write down who you're becoming. Start the sentence with, I am becoming someone who my future self is, and describe it in detail. Then post it on your mirror. Look at it every day.
That's right. This isn't just positive thinking. This is neuroplasticity. Science tells us that the brain rewires itself based on repetition and emotional intention. You're not faking anything. You're training your mind to recognize your own potential.
And remember, your identity isn't fixed. It's a choice. You get to choose how you see yourself. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are a story in progress.
So the next time you feel stuck or unmotivated, ask yourself, what would my future self do right now? Would they give up? Or would they try again, even if it's messy?
Coming up next, we're sharing a third strategy, one that focuses on your environment, because you can't become your best self if your surroundings are pulling you back every day.
Okay, so you've built a micro habit, you're thinking like your future self, but here's a big truth we can't ignore. You can't become your best self in a toxic environment. Your growth is shaped by the world around you.
It's like trying to grow a flower in a dark closet. It doesn't matter how strong that flower is. It needs sunlight, water, air. Humans are the same. And this brings us to solution number 3. Redesign your environment.
Environment isn't just physical, it's also emotional and digital. It's the people you talk to, the content you consume, the sounds, the habits, even the way your room is organized. Everything around you is either lifting you up or pulling you down.
Let me ask you a question. Look at your daily routine. Is your phone full of distractions or inspiration? Are the people in your life supportive or critical? Does your physical space invite focus or stress?
Here's an example. I used to scroll through Instagram every morning as soon as I woke up. And guess what? I'd start my day comparing myself to others, feeling behind, feeling small. That one habit set the tone for my whole day.
Same. And once I became aware of it, I made a small shift. I replaced social media with a podcast that uplifts me. Just that one change, game changer. It put me in the right state of mind to work, to create, to speak with confidence.
Let's give our listeners a few ways they can redesign their environment starting today. Practical tip number 1, curate your content. Unfollow people who drain you. Follow pages that teach, inspire, and encourage growth, especially in English. Surround yourself with language and motivation, even online.
Practical tip number 2, physical space check. Look around your room. Is it chaotic or calming? Is there a small corner you can make your growth zone? A desk, a quiet spot, even a chair by the window where you can study, reflect, and grow.
Practical tip number 3, social circle upgrade. This one is tough, but necessary. If the people around you constantly mock your dreams, laugh when you speak English, or discourage your efforts, it's okay to create space. Surround yourself with at least one person who believes in you. That belief can change everything.
Practical tip number 4, visual reminders. Put your goals where you can see them. Sticky notes on the mirror, a vision board, a future self letter. Make your environment speak to you, remind you of who you're becoming.
And one more thing. Don't wait for the perfect setup. Start with what you have. It's not about expensive furniture or perfect lighting. It's about intention. A clean corner with a notebook can become your launch pad for transformation.
Yes, and here's a mindset shift. Don't just react to your environment, design it. You have the power to create a space that supports your learning, your speaking practice, and your emotional peace.
So if you're listening right now, take 10 minutes after this episode and do an environment scan. What can you remove? What can you improve? What can you add that supports the future you?
Coming up next is solution number 4, and it's a big one. How to protect your energy and maintain your progress even when life gets messy. Okay, so we've talked about micro habits, identity, and environment. But here's the question a lot of people silently ask. What do I do when I feel tired, when life gets hard, when I want to give up? That's where solution number 4 comes in. Learn how to protect your energy and build emotional consistency.
Oh, I love this part because no matter how smart or disciplined you are, you will have bad days. Days when nothing works. Days when you don't want to grow. That's not failure, that's being human.
Exactly. And that's why we need emotional tools, not just motivational quotes. Because staying consistent isn't about being perfect. It's about coming back again and again.
Let's start with this truth. Your energy is your fuel. Guard it like gold. If you constantly give without rest, without boundaries, you burn out. And when you're burned out, your best self hides. You start snapping at people, doubting yourself, skipping routines.
So, what can we do about that? Tip number 1, set emotional boundaries. This means learning how to say no to people or situations that drain you. You don't need to attend every argument, reply to every rude comment, or fix everyone's problems.
Yes, I used to say yes to everything. Extra work, late night texts, helping people who never helped me back. And I was exhausted. Once I started saying, hey, I can't do that right now, I got my peace back. And with peace came energy.
Tip number 2, track your energy, not just your time. Instead of asking, how long did I study English today? Ask, when do I feel most focused and alive? Plan your habits around those energy peaks. For example, if you speak best in the morning, schedule English practice then.
Tip number 3, design reset rituals. These are small actions that help you return to calm when life gets overwhelming. My go-to? 3 deep breaths, a 5-minute walk, and playing relaxing music. It sounds small, but it gives me clarity.
Mine is journaling for 2 minutes. I just ask myself, what am I feeling? What do I need? And writing it down reminds me that every emotion is temporary. Anger? It passes. Doubt? It passes. Tiredness? It passes too.
And speaking of tiredness, tip number 4, normalize rest. Rest is not laziness, it's preparation. It's the quiet moment before your next breakthrough. And if your body says, I need a break, listen. Rest with purpose, not guilt.
One thing I've learned is that the best version of me isn't the one who never stops. It's the one who knows to pause, recharge, and start again.
Yes. So, friends, let's rewrite this idea of consistency. It's not about being strong every day. It's about showing up again, especially after you fall. It's about forgiving yourself and starting again on a Tuesday afternoon after a messy Monday morning.
If you're tired, rest, then return. If you missed your goal, adjust, don't abandon. This is real growth. It's quiet, it's patient, it's sustainable.
So, here's a quick reflection. What drains your energy the most and what restores it? Make 2 lists today and use them to guide your routine.
Coming up next, our favorite part of the podcast, the role-play conversation between Sophia and me, where we act out a real-life moment of growth and show you how to apply all these ideas in action.
So, by now, we've talked about building new habits, thinking like your future self, creating a supportive environment, and protecting your energy. But even with all of that, something still happens.
Yep, life, disappointments, rejections, messy emotions. Maybe you miss a week of practice. Maybe you fail at something big. Or maybe your old habits start creeping back in. That's what this part is about. Overcoming the inner and outer obstacles that slow us down.
Let's begin with the most common one, fear of failure. It's everywhere. especially when you're trying to change. You think, what if I try to speak in English and mess up? What if people laugh at me? What if I disappoint myself again?
I used to live inside that fear. I'd avoid speaking unless I was 100% sure I'd say it perfectly. And because of that, I never improved. Because improvement lives in mistakes.
That's so true. We need to remember that failure isn't the opposite of growth, it's a part of it. Imagine trying to walk as a baby and falling down once, then deciding, nope, walking's not for me. You wouldn't be here right now, but we forget that as adults.
So the mindset shift here is this. Don't fear failure. Fear staying stuck. Messing up in English is better than staying silent forever. A failed attempt is still an attempt. That's growth.
Another big obstacle is self-sabotage. This is when we want to grow, but we secretly act against ourselves. You set a goal, then ignore it. You start learning, then binge watch shows. You speak up once, then avoid it for weeks. Why does that happen?
It's usually two reasons. First, deep down beliefs that say, I don't deserve this, or who do I think I am? And second, your brain is afraid of success just as much as failure because change, even good change, is uncomfortable.
Yes, that's why awareness is everything. When I noticed myself procrastinating on important things, I had to ask, what am I really afraid of? Sometimes the answer was, I'm afraid I'll succeed and people will expect more from me.
That's powerful. So here's a tip for listeners. Name your fear. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Give it shape. Because once you name it, it loses some of its power. It goes from a foggy feeling to a challenge you can face.
Another obstacle, other people's opinions. So many listeners have messaged us saying, I want to speak better English, but people laugh when I try. Or my family doesn't believe in this growth stuff.
That's painful but real. And I want to say this clearly. Not everyone will understand your growth. Not everyone will support it. But that doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means they're not ready. Don't shrink just because they're uncomfortable with your expansion.
Preach. And here's what helped me. Find just one person who does believe in you. A friend, a mentor, a podcast, even a journal where you talk to your future self. You don't need a crowd. Just one safe space can carry you through a storm.
Last but not least, let's talk about the all or nothing trap. It says, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. This mindset kills progress because the truth is, imperfect progress is still progress.
So if you fall off track, don't restart from zero. Pick up from where you are. If you miss one day, that's okay. Just show up again the next day. Messy action is better than perfect inaction.
And every time you bounce back, you're teaching your brain something important. I am someone who continues even when it's hard.
So here's a quick challenge for today's listeners. Write down the top 3 obstacles that keep showing up in your life. Then ask yourself, what do these blocks teach me about my fears? What would my best self do next time?
And up next, it's time for the fun part, the practice role play. You'll hear how all today's lessons sound in real life, and you'll get to follow along like you're right there with us.
Jack, I don't know what's wrong with me this week. I just fell apart. I didn't do my journaling. I skipped English practice. I even started doubting myself again.
I hear you. Honestly, same here. I woke up Wednesday and thought, what's the point? But I want to tell you something. You didn't fall apart. You paused. That's okay. The fact that you're reflecting right now, that's growth.
Thanks. I needed to hear that. It's just, I felt like I was becoming that version of me I didn't want to be again. The one who always starts strong and then disappears.
I get it. But let me ask you something. What would your future self do right now?
Hmm. She would probably breathe, forgive herself, and then write just one thing she's proud of.
Exactly. Not do everything perfectly. Just take the next small step. That's being her already.
Okay, then here's one thing. I did help my younger cousin speak in English yesterday. He was so shy, but I helped him say 3 sentences out loud. That felt good.
See? That's exactly the best version of you. She's not perfect. She's powerful in small, consistent ways. That moment mattered. You showed up even if it wasn't on your checklist.
Wow, when you say it like that, I feel proud again. Maybe I'm not falling behind. Maybe I'm just growing in a different way.
You are. And hey, let's get back on track together. What's one micro habit you want to recommit to this week?
One English voice note per day, just 30 seconds. I'll record what I'm feeling or describe something around me. No filters, no perfection.
Beautiful. And I'll write one sentence in my notebook each night about how I lived with intention that day. Just one.
Can we text each other when we do it?
Absolutely. Accountability squad.
Okay, I actually feel a little fire coming back now. Like maybe I can still become her, the best version of me.
Not maybe. You already are. One small action at a time. Welcome to the Vocabulary Builder. This part is all about taking real words and phrases from our episode and making them part of your daily speaking.
That's right. And the cool thing, these words aren't just dictionary words. They're emotional, motivational, and real. Words you can actually use in your conversations to sound confident and natural.
Let's start. Word 1. Consistency, meaning doing something regularly even when it's hard. Example, you don't need to be perfect, just consistent. Try it. I'm working on my English with more consistency now.
Word 2, identity, meaning the way you see yourself or define who you are. Example, when you speak one English word a day, you become a speaker. That's identity. Try it. I'm building a new identity as a confident learner.
Word 3. Anchor, meaning a stable or grounding thing that keeps you focused or steady. Example, my future self letter is my anchor. Try it. That morning routine is my anchor for the day.
Word 4, self-sabotage, meaning when you unconsciously stop your own progress by acting against your goals. Example, I set a goal, but I avoided it. That was self-sabotage. Try it. I'm learning to recognize my self-sabotage patterns.
Phrase 5. Fall apart, meaning to feel overwhelmed emotionally or mentally and lose control. Example, this week I felt like I was falling apart. Try it. Even when I fall apart, I always come back stronger.
Bonus word 6, momentum, meaning the energy or speed that builds up as you keep going. Example, small wins create momentum that drives big growth. Try it. After journaling for a week, I gained momentum.
Bonus word 7. Reset, meaning to start fresh, emotionally or physically. Example, a 5-minute walk helped me reset my mind. Try it. When I feel stuck, I take a reset break.
Here's a quick challenge for our listeners. Pick 2 words from today's list and use them in your next voice note, journal entry, or conversation.
You don't need to memorize all 7 right now. Just focus on using them in your life. Language sticks when you live it, not when you just study it.
And coming up next is our final part of this episode, one of our favorites. It's time for a motivational recap to remind you of who you are, what's possible, and what to do next.
Let's end this together with heart, hope, and one final push forward.
Take a deep breath. You made it. Through every story, every tip, every truth, you stayed with us. That means something because people who stay through the discomfort, through the doubts, through the learning curve, they're already growing. They're already changing.
And if no one told you this yet today, let us say it clearly. You are already becoming the best version of yourself. Not someday, not when everything is perfect. Right now, in this moment, with your messy steps and quiet wins.
Let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've walked together in this episode. We started by talking about the power of micro habits, those tiny daily choices that quietly shape your identity. Then we explored how thinking like your future self creates momentum, direction, and deep self-belief. We redesigned your environment so it stops draining you and starts supporting you. We protected your energy because burnout is not the badge of growth. Peace is. We faced your obstacles with honesty and compassion, and we remembered falling is not failure. We practiced a real conversation, messy, honest, and full of hope. And we expanded your English vocabulary so your words can grow alongside your mindset.
That's not just an episode. That's a transformation. Now here's the part that matters most. What are you going to do next? Because inspiration is beautiful, but action is everything.
So here's your gentle but powerful challenge. Choose one thing from today's episode. Just one. Maybe it's your micro habit. Maybe it's writing to your future self. Maybe it's creating a better environment. Maybe it's resting without guilt. Maybe it's saying your first English voice note out loud. Do it. Don't wait. Don't overthink. Just begin.
And remember, your journey is yours. There's no deadline to transformation. There's no perfect timeline. You're not too late. You're not too broken. You're not behind.
You are a beautiful work in progress. And the best version of you, she's not a stranger. She's already inside you. She just needs a little more belief, a little more love, a little more practice.
So keep showing up, speak your truth, make mistakes proudly. And please, don't do it alone. We're here with you every step of the way.
If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who needs it. Leave us a comment or a message and tell us your micro habit. Your future self is cheering you on.
And don't forget to subscribe to Hey English Podcast so you never miss an episode that feeds both your English skills and your heart.
Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and keep becoming. Together, you've got this.